Hello and welcome to the Pleasurepreneur podcast. This podcast will help you create what you desire in your business with pleasure, whether that be calling in your ideal clients, making more money, or creating a balanced business life blend. I'm your host, Regan, pleasure and business coach, published author of A Mother's Pleasure, wife and mama to 3 little wildlings. However you're choosing to listen to this podcast, ask yourself, how can I make this more pleasurable? And do just that. I acknowledge the custodians of the land on which this podcast is recorded and produced, the Wadi Wadi people of Dharawal land. Now, let's proceed with pleasure. Hello and welcome to the Pleasurepreneur podcast. Welcome back to those of you who are regular listeners. And thank you to those of you who have reached out and let me know that you are loving the podcast. I got a really beautiful handful of DMs recently saying that you're loving the podcast and what you're getting out of it, which I'm so grateful for. Apart from it makes me feel good to know that my time and energy is helping you. It's so good to actually receive that feedback. The only kind of feedback I get otherwise is download numbers. And I don't know who's listening. I don't know what you're getting out of it. I don't know which episode's your favorite. So you're most welcome to send me DMs and let me know. You are also most welcome to leave me a review wherever it is that you're downloading your podcast from. The more 5-star reviews that there is, the more it gets pushed out to more other people. So we can have all the women in all the lands making more money with way more pleasure. That is my goal. That is my why. All right. So why don't we now dive into something that is hot on my heart and has been coming up in conversations recently, both with peers as well as with clients, and something that I wish every woman in business understood. Now, you do not want to make millions and be miserable, I'm guessing. You do not want to be fully booked and say fully stressed. You do not dream of creating financial freedom by sacrificing the very things that make your life beautiful, that you value, that feel good for you. It sounds super ridiculous, right? And yet, now I mean this from a place of love. So many of you are building your business in a way that creates exactly that outcome. I think we all know we don't want to make millions and be miserable. We know that's silly. The part that is misunderstood is that we want both, but we don't fully believe it is possible to have both, right? We have been so thoroughly conditioned to believe it is one or the other. But because you are here listening, I know you're a pleasurepreneur and that you want both and that you are ready to have both. And that's what I'm here to help you with today. We are going to break that limiting belief wide open that you have to choose one or the other, that you can't have both, and give you a totally different way forward so that you can dissolve the self-sabotage and fear, and you start creating both. As I said, I have never had any client come to me and say, Regan, I want to make more money and feel tense and stressed and disconnected from my life, or I want to be fully booked and have zero time for myself or my kids or the things that make me feel alive. And of course, I'm going to expect that you're the same too. You don't want that. But yet, you might be accidentally building your business to produce exactly that result. Not because you are consciously choosing it, but because somewhere along there is a part of you that believes deep down that you do have to choose. You have to choose rich or rested. You have to choose wealthy or well. You have to choose booked out or present with your kids. And this is what I see happening. And you might recognize yourself in this. Because of this, often subconscious belief that you do have to choose, between wealthy or well, success or spaciousness. Oh my God, these are so good. You end up doing one of two things. Pattern number 1 that I see, you don't go all in on your business because it feels like a threat to what matters to you most. Okay? You do want your business to boom and be successful, but a part of you is secretly believing that success will cost you the things you value most, like time with your kids, care for yourself, Nice snuggly snow mornings, maybe. Nice snuggly slow mornings, weekends away, space to be a human, energy, joy, relaxation, actual life satisfaction. So what happens? You pull right back when momentum starts building. You self-sabotage without even realizing it. You don't quite get there. You don't quite reach that point that you want to get to. That reminds me of an Alan Watts quote. It's all wretch and no vomit. You never quite get there. You're doing all the work, but you're not kind of allowing yourself to get there yet. It feels like it's taking a really long time. You never fully let yourself reach perhaps that next level, or as I said, it takes a really long time. And if you do get there, you don't stay there for long. Now, it's not because you are not capable. It's because your subconscious is protecting your top values outside of your business. Your beautiful brain thinks like success means losing what I love. So it keeps you safe, which also keeps you not quite getting there. And then there is the other pattern that I see, pattern number 2. You go all in on your business, but not in a way that aligns with who you are or what you value outside of your business success. Yeah, this one is sneaky because, technically you are showing up. You are pushing, you are doing the work, you are moving, but you're moving in a direction that isn't actually right for you. You end up building your business based on obligation, what you think you're supposed to do, how others say success should look like, mimetic desire, not true desire. Now, there's a podcast episode I did in the past on the difference between true versus mimetic desire. Mimetic desire is from the word mimesis, which is like about imitation. We do this as humans, especially growing up from little babies. We learn by imitating others. But we can also do this in our business when we kind of copy what other people's desires are. We start chasing other people's goals and other people's desires, not our true desires. Now, this is what can happen if we do not believe we can have both. And part of this pattern is also using strategies that actually don't suit your life season, or selling offers you don't actually want to deliver, creating content you don't even enjoy creating, or launching in a way that really drains you, that doesn't actually serve you. And of course, what does that then lead to? That's going to lead to burnout, feeling trapped, feeling disconnected from your business, your body, yourself, and probably getting to a point where you just want to burn it all down, and that leads to a quiet, simmering resentment, or maybe you might get to a point where it's not so quiet, toward the very thing that you're building, right? Now, neither of these two patterns are what you want. Neither of these options are required, and neither of these paths lead you to having both. So let's break down the real problem here. You don't fully believe you can have both. Or maybe you've tried once or twice before and it has kind of blown up in your face. And so you've gone, oh, okay, well, I've got to choose one or the other. But here's the whole thing. You want both. You want to be wealthy and well. You want to be rich and rested. You want to be fully booked and fully present, successful in business and satisfied in life. Oh my gosh, the alliteration is off the charts today and I'm so here for it. Yeah, you want all of that, but it is not your fault. You don't fully believe you can't have both. Every message you have ever absorbed has trained you to expect the opposite. Chances are you grew up seeing success modeled as busy and burnt out and, overwork and sacrifice and hustle and depletion, and almost never as pleasure and presence and well-being. Immediately I'm thinking about shows on telly, I don't know, Suits immediately comes to mind, right? They're these successful lawyers and who's the main guy? He's pretty hot. But he eats by buying, he eats from the hot dog stand on the street. That's his meal every day. And they don't have any time outside of work for themselves, for socializing. It's all work, right? And I can probably list off, I think you probably could too, a whole bunch of shows that you have seen as well that, follow this same narrative. Our culture rewards women for self-abandonment and guilt trips them for enjoying their lives. Your nervous system learned quite early, I'm going to guess, that more often means less of you. So of course it wants to protect you. And again, immediately I'm thinking about when I fell pregnant with my third child. And I was like, oh my gosh, we'd kind of agreed to just had two. Secretly in my heart, I wanted more, but I was like, okay, you're right, Jake, let's just have two. Anyway, one of the things that worried me the most was like, oh my gosh, having more kids means less of me. Now you might relate this to thinking like having more work, more success, more income means less of me, means less time, means less energy. Yeah. Now, on top of all of that, you've probably been trying to build your business using strategies that are designed for people, perhaps a whole nother gender, with totally different biology, with different energy patterns and different priorities, which only reinforces the belief that ease and expansion cannot coexist. Yeah, you aren't resisting success. You're resisting the version of success you've been shown. Okay, I feel like I need to say that again. You aren't resisting success. You are resisting the version of success you have been shown. Yeah, because most of your life, you've not been given evidence that you can have both. So your subconscious has deeply ingrained neural pathways that assume it's impossible, even though it's exactly what you desire. And that belief alone creates all the resistance that you can't have both. If you don't believe you can have both, you will unconsciously build a business that confirms that belief, where you only have one or the other. So let's get out of this kind of heaviness and into the solution. Oh, feel a bit lighter even just saying that. Okay, you know what changes the whole game. You know what I'm going to say, I think, if you've been listening to my podcast for a while. It is bringing pleasure into your business. Okay, because pleasure does two very powerful things that I want to remind you of in this episode. It does many things, but these are the two relevant things that I want to bring to the table for this episode. Number one, pleasure dissolves the belief that business equals sacrifice. Yeah, when you experience making money in a way that energizes you, that lights you up, and has you feel good, your brain gets new evidence. Evidence that you can have both, evidence that you can make more and feel better, evidence that you do not need to choose. And number two, pleasure removes resistance, which increases results. Yeah. If making money or if selling feels hard or icky or draining or out of alignment, you're going to avoid it, right? And if you avoid selling, your sales, your income, and your impact in the world, with your community, with the people who you serve, all of that is going to slow down. It's going to plateau. It's going to stall, okay? Oh my gosh, doors to the Pleasurepreneur Mastermind are opening soon. And yes, I am already having some pre-sale chats. So if you're feeling that pull, DM me. But that's not what this message is about. I have been thinking about those of you who are going to be jumping inside the mastermind for the next round and what you're really desiring right now. Yes, you want to enjoy your business, but what you really want is to be making more money and signing more clients in a way that feels good for you. So I've created something completely free for you. It's called the Pleasure Powered Sales Series. I love a bit of alliteration. It is a 5-day email series that shows you how to make way more sales with way more pleasure. We are drawn to what feels good. And when selling feels good, you want to do it more. And when you do it more, you make more sales. So hit the link in the show notes, pop your details in, and get ready to learn how to sell with pleasure. These 5 days will shift how you sell, how you show up, and how you make money forevermore. Here is the part I do not want you to miss. When selling feels good, when making money and growing your business feels good, it doesn't just give you better results inside of your business, it gives you the life you are trying to protect outside of your business. Because when selling feels like, I want to say self-expression and connection and ease and pleasure and, of course this is the next obvious step. When selling feels like all of those nice things, you sell more naturally. You invite clients in more frequently. You show up consistently because you want to, not because you're forcing yourself to, right? We want to feel the energy here. You will feel more energized instead of depleted. Yeah, you are then creating more cash flow because you're enjoying yourself. When you know how to make money in a way that feels good, you stop sacrificing the things that matter most to you, or you stop believing you have to sacrifice the things that matter to you. And here's the part I really want you to hear. When selling feels good, when it actually lights you up, you don't just get better results in your business, you get more of the life you want outside of your business too. Yeah? Yes, you get more clients, but that's without losing time with your kids. Because your business starts working in the pockets of time you already have, it doesn't take anything extra from you. You get more income, but with more energy, not less, because you're not dragging yourself through the heaviness or the ickiness of selling. Your body actually wants to show up for it. And you get, say, more momentum while actually feeling more free, because you are no longer avoiding the actions that create results. You are drawn to them. You actually enjoy them. Yeah. This is how pleasure takes you from the version of like millions and miserable to wealthy and well, from fully booked and fully stressed to fully booked and fully present, living a life that is full of pleasure. Yeah, you do not have to wait for one day or when you hit X number or when life comes down. Pleasure and presence and freedom and enjoyment are not the reward for the millions. And I think this is something that we can get confused of all the time. Like thinking like we have to earn the pleasure. Like the pleasure is the reward. The pleasure is the thing that comes after we hit the milestones. But the thing is, if you haven't learnt how to experience pleasure and feel safe with it along the way and know that it can, I want to say, even just coexist with success, it doesn't then just show up when your bank balance reflects a certain number, or when you've got a certain number of clients on your books. I know this from the clients I've worked with and from my own experience. Just because your bank has a certain number in it, as I said, just because you are working with a certain number of clients, you don't then all of a sudden start enjoying yourself. You have to practice it. It is a learnable skill. Yeah, this is how you get to feel wealthy and well. You practice it from day one, or you practice it from today. Yeah, you practice it along the way. You bake it in now, starting with the way you sell. And once your body starts experiencing this new way of growing your business, it can get the evidence it has been missing. You actually can have both, which brings us to the next part of today's episode. Because wanting both isn't enough, right? Remember, we want both, but you have to believe that both are possible. And I do not doubt there is probably a big part of you that believes both are possible. Why else would you be listening to the Pleasurepreneur podcast, right? But chances are, if you are noticing that you're in either of those two patterns in your business, then there is still a part of you that doesn't fully believe you can have both. So I invite you to begin to shift that belief. Like, let's do it now. We can do it together using a technique from my belief shifting process I take my clients through to dissolve their limiting beliefs once and for all. So I want you to think of two things that you want most. For example, you can use some of my lovely alliteration pairings. Wealthy and well, maybe you want to be rich and rested, maybe you want to be fully booked and fully present, maybe you want to be successful and spacious. Is that too much alliteration for you? Okay, I want you to ask yourself, where in my life, past or present, have I held both at the same time? Yeah, remember, you just want two words. You just want, what are the two things you want? Maybe it's just money and peace, for example. So then I want you to consider, as I said, where in my life, past or present, ideally both, have I held both at the same time? Where have you, say, earned more and felt energized or expanded? Where have you taken on more clients and felt spacious or supported? Where have you created something meaningful and felt calm and grounded and joyful? So some kind of real life examples of this might look like the time you got off a client call feeling so energized and inspired that perhaps you started dreaming bigger instead of collapsing on the couch. The day a payment came in while you were out for a walk or at the beach with your kids and you were like, holy shit, this is actually working. Maybe when you shifted your offer ever so slightly to make it more enjoyable for yourself And so therefore, suddenly client work felt lighter and you started calling in more clients. Maybe it's even a moment when you realized a day of your calendar or multiple days of your calendar are now full with clients, but you don't feel overwhelmed. You feel steady, you feel clear, you feel supported. Yeah. I want you to now widen that lens. So now you've started to jot down, perhaps in the past or maybe now in the present, where you are already experiencing both of those things together. It doesn't matter how small those things are, it all counts. But now let's widen the lens a little. Yeah, I want you to consider, where have you seen other women hold both? Now, this is not to compare, but just to expose your subconscious to more evidence of what you desire. Okay, so this could be women that you know personally. It could be, it doesn't even need to be women. It could be somebody or people that you know personally. It could be people that you know from just online. Yeah, if it's possible for someone else, it is possible for you too. And the more of that evidence you can give your brain, the easier it is to dissolve that belief that you have to choose between one or the other. Okay, so start collecting more and more of that evidence to prove your subconscious wrong, to prove to yourself that you can have both, to prove your subconscious wrong and change those neural pathways so that they lead to a place where it is inevitable for you to have both. Yeah? To get this moving inside your business right now so that you can be collecting, real evidence in real time, in the present, right now. I have the thing for you. Now, it is called the Pleasure Powered Sales Series. You would have heard it in the mid-episode promo. And so I want to invite you to join the Pleasure Powered Sales Series. Now, this is not something where you have to be showing up for calls or, having set times where you need to be showing up or being part of a conversation. It is a really simple access for yourself in whatever time feels good for you, free 5-part email series that teaches you how to make selling feel good so that you can obviously enroll more clients, make more money, and feel more energized and alive in the process so you can start to see that you get both. You can have both. When selling is pleasurable, your business becomes profitable and you start living out your desires for both. You can be wealthy and well. You can be, I'm trying to remember what they are, rich and rested. You can be successful and deeply satisfied. This is exactly the kind of work I help my clients with, both inside the Pleasurepreneur Mastermind and in private coaching. And it is something that you can get started on right now. It is a skill that you will have for life that will change your business forever. And you can have it for free in the link in the show notes. Is that right? Yes, the link in the show notes. So click on the link, sign yourself up, take yourself through the 5-step series. You get to be fully booked and live a pleasureful life. Okay, that's it for me for now. I am going to wrap up here and I have a client call. So it's time to make a coffee and set myself up for something pleasurable. Let's not forget, think about how you can make your day pleasurable, whatever it is you're doing today. And I will see you back here on the next episode of the Pleasurepreneur podcast. Bye for now.